America has committed. At this point, they have committed almost $15 billion through the International Finance Development Corporation. $15 billion to invest in African projects. Now, the catch in all of this, as you might imagine, is that this money is tied to American businesses. American businesses have to be a part of the project or the program. That's where the diaspora comes in. Okay, because we're all Americans, we're all American business people that want to do business in Africa. We've got access to this money. What the African governments and African entrepreneurs and small and medium-sized enterprises have to understand is they need to connect with the American diaspora on the projects that they want to get done. And we're talking about any kind of project: health, education, solar, solid waste, housing development. People talk about the shortage of housing in Africa. Well, I mean, here is a way to do something about that. Get the diaspora involved. Every country ought to have a strong outreach program to the American diaspora business community. If you don't have it, then you're missing the boat, and the struggle will continue. Everything is not aid anymore. You've heard this phrase before, trade, not aid. And that's the direction that everything is going in. People want to do business. And if you do business properly, there will be a profit. Jobs will be created. Wealth will be generated on the African continent for Africans. That's the understanding that you have to have when you start thinking about the United States of America. It is no longer going to use aid as a way to develop a relationship with African countries. They're looking to trade. In fact, a recent example is the United States government has entered into negotiations with the country of Kenya for a free trade agreement. What that means is that there will be some negotiations in terms of what would be allowable to come into one country or the other without any duty. Also, there will be various ways that new trading relationships will be developed. For example, in Kenya, you're going to find that now American companies are going to be able to bid on Kenyan government contracts. That's a big deal. That's more money for the American businesses, but once again, it's up to Kenya to negotiate how they can access the American agricultural industry. Agriculture is the biggest industry in Africa. If Africans are going to be successful, they have to have a strong, successful agricultural industry, which means exports. It means food processing. Right now, Africa is facing 40% post-harvest losses in food. That's ridiculous. Farmers can't afford to make it off of all of the harvest that they generate, much less to lose 40% on the way to the marketplace. Well, there's some solutions for that. It's called cold storage. There's some manufacturers in America, African-American diaspora manufacturers of cold storage equipment that want to participate and help Africa with this, solve this problem. So there's no need to feel that the diaspora doesn't have anything to offer. The diaspora has plenty to offer. It's got technique, it's got capability, and with the US government making this outreach, it's going to have some money. And it's important, once again, for Africa to look at America and look at the diaspora in a different way. Everybody's all excited about the remittances. Oh, the diaspora sending all this money, but that money is going to grandmama, you know, it's going to grandmama and the kids. That is not going to be used for any kind of economic development or industrialization of Africa. Forget that. But what you have demonstrated by the diaspora is a willingness. Am I cutting myself off?
No, you're good.
Okay, what we're showing is that the diaspora has indicated a willingness to give freely to Africa. Just here, take the money. That's what it shows. That the remittances dollars are more than any economic development donation by any country in the world. The diaspora is right there on the front line providing resources to Africa. And that's just the beginning. Now think if you could do the same thing and say everybody's gonna make some money. We do it from a business standpoint. We do it from a point of view of where we're empowering Africa as well as the diaspora, because we need some help over here too. There's so many things, and when it comes to markets, see, in business, markets are where the money is, okay? The diaspora is being squeezed out of America. You heard all this demonstrations about racial injustice and systemic racism over the years. Well, that's really a burden that we've had to bear, okay? When you look at Africa, all of a sudden, what? This is the fastest growing continent, the fastest growing economies in the world. You got a population that is booming. You got a population now of 1.3 billion. It's going to grow to 2.5 billion in another 20 years. That's where you want to have your business set up. That's where the market is. When you're talking about selling things, and Africans want everything. They want everything they see on TV, everything they see on HBO and YouTube. They want the same thing everybody else in the world wants, and they're willing to pay for it. We can make a business case that the diaspora doing business with Africa will grow the African diaspora economically, and it's good for everybody. So those are some of the things that we wanted to talk about and discuss. And certainly, if you got some questions or if you got some ideas, is how we can get this movement moving a little faster than it is. Right now, I think it's moving kind of slow, because traditionally people have waited. I'm talking about Africans now, have traditionally waited on this whole grant aid, USAID, and then China comes in and is taking everything. They say, yeah, I'll build a railroad for you, but if you don't pay me, I'm going to take your airport. Okay. Absolutely. So we've got to figure out, how does the diaspora get involved in this whole transaction and get in the game? And I'm saying that there are people that are ready to get in the game from the diaspora side. We've got to get Africans of the same frame of mind that we're not just, giving everything away free. Well, let's do some business. Let's do some trade.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Dr. B. I think you hit the nail right on the head. The new name of the game is Let's Do Business, right? And so we'll get into further detail some of the conversations around identifying partners, because what I hear from our continental African brothers, and some of them are represented on the line, so we'll speak, is that they don't know enough about the diaspora. They don't know enough about the African-American businessman. What does that look like? What expertise does he have? How do I access him or link up with him so that we could start doing business? And I think there have been many attempts, Leon Sullivan, and those guys that you know very well, those are some of your contemporaries, CP and Lucas and those guys. They tried in their own way, and so we'll hopefully we'll have a conversation. I know we have another speaker I want to hurry up and get on, so that perhaps if Mary Apollo is on, then I will introduce her so that we could go into that presentation so that we could open it up for questions. And I know I've invited a few others. There's some folks who have like a hospital project in Liberia looking for partners. There are others who have all different sorts of opportunities. So we'll have that conversation. Let me see if I could get down to and help me out there. Let me see. Is it Mary? Is Mary Apollo part of, or are we going to?
Yeah, she's muted.
Sorry.
Oh, she's on now.
Okay. Is Mary Apollo available? Oh, yeah, yes, there she is.
There.
1 second. So Mary Apollo is